A few days ago, an underwater earthquake and the eruption of the Fuji volcano killed tens of thousands of people. The whole neighborhood had to be evacuated today. People are in panic, they don't know how to go on living. Suddenly, the girl remembered that when she left in such a hurry, she hadn't brought anything with her. She would have to buy supplies in Jiannan City. The passenger sitting next to her asked, hadn't she seen the news? All the goods in the warehouses are out of stock. The total value of these goods is probably worth tens of trillions, said the guy sitting in the back. Loss of supplies and all these natural disasters are only half of it. Let them open their eyes and look around them. The end of the world is coming. The guy turned around and said, if this really is the end of the world, he's looking forward to it. All living things will become equal. Our protagonist Su Chen, however, doesn't think so. Even during the end of the world, all living beings will not be equal, because he has personally experienced it and seen it all with his own eyes. In a previous life, the guy was a regular delivery boy. The apocalypse has come because of the anomalous solar power surge. Atmospheric pressure rose sharply, the Earth's crust moved, and the monsters hidden underground came to the surface. The whole world changed in an instant. A new world, a new order. In this world of extreme lack of supplies, even for just a bag of instant noodles or ham, you must sacrifice everything. And our protagonist is reborn again a month before the apocalypse. A frightened girl asked a guy for help. But he refused, saying he had more important things to do. Su Chen realized that the most important thing during the apocalypse was supplies. In his previous life, he had wasted his time searching for them. This time he must prepare in advance. The man said that half of his daily salary would be deducted for being 21 seconds late. Su Chen apologized. In a previous life, when the world ended, his boss ran away and his annual salary went to waste. These groceries are his compensation. This time, he will take them away. Su Chen easily opened the subspace system. It was his ability. Rice, vegetable oil and meat were detected. Everything is automatically saved. Everything around him can be placed in an extra-large cubic space measuring 10,000 meters in length, width, and height. This provides great convenience in obtaining free food. Relying on this ability, he drained 2 freshwater lakes and sacked several cities that would have already been destroyed during the apocalypse. In the apocalypse, even a pack of instant noodles is a luxury, let alone fresh produce. And time is frozen here. Food stays fresh no matter how long it's stored. Finally, he wouldn't have to eat garbage like in his previous life. After gathering a lot of supplies, he can breathe a sigh of relief. The bosses were furious to see their warehouse empty. The guy said he took everything, but how did he do it? The boss ordered us to catch him. When he left, Su Chen said he wouldn't be late again and just disappeared. Spatial jump is his second ability. He is able to move through space within 3 meters. In an apocalypse, with this ability a guy can infiltrate abandoned buildings to find supplies and escape safely. Even in the face of mutants, a spatial jump could save his life at a critical moment. Free shopping mission complete, you can move on. He got a message on his phone. It said that at the moment the Earth is undergoing intense changes and localized natural disasters may occur. Suddenly, his girlfriend Jiang Shuqiang called. She asked why he was avoiding her. Why did Su Chen put the house on the market? Why is he so naive, or does he think he can find a girl who wants to be with him after this? Where is his manhood? If he is unable to give it to her, how can she feel safe around him? Su Chen asked, what else? The girl said she was giving him one last chance. Right now, let him go back and give her ownership. Or let him forget that she will marry him. The guy said he was going back to Shanda, would talk to you when he got back, and hung up. Jiang Xiaoqian, in his previous life, they spent 5 years in the apocalypse. He looked everywhere for supplies to feed her. He even took her to a safe zone. If it wasn't for him, she would have starved to death. Then he came to them empty-handed and something happened. He had been treated very unfairly in his past life. Jiang Xiaoqian cheated on him in front of his eyes. He trusted the wrong person. But this time, the guy promises they'll pay for it and they won't die so easily. They'll feel all the pain he felt tenfold, and so the rest of the stuff can only be bought with money, but you have to earn it first. You have to call Liu's manager. Su Chen has agreed to sell his house for half price, but he needs the cash now. Getting out of the cab, he saw that Jiang Xiaoqian and that crazy man were waiting for him at the door of the real estate company. Xiaoyu asked, who let him sell the house? If he did, he would make sure that the guy wouldn't see the sun tomorrow. Su Chen lifted and abruptly released him to the ground. "Now let him try it," Jiang Xiaoqian shouted to let him go. "Let someone help him or he'll kill him." Su Chen said not to worry, he wouldn't die so easily. The girl shouted after him that while she wasn't angry yet, let him kneel down and apologize quickly. Otherwise, he could forget about their wedding. The mere sight of him frightened them. Just worthless people, thought the guy. The man said hello and said he would buy his house. Don't let him worry. Du's worth over $1 million, and this stupid guy sells it for 700,000. He could make a profit of a few $100,000. Su Chen said that he needed full payment. Would he be able to pay immediately today? He replied that of course he needed to sign the contract and would transfer the money, but that the transfer of rights would take place next Monday. At this time he can choose any house he likes, provided he dares to live in it. 700,000 yuan was transferred to his account, work promptly, despite the fact that various natural disasters occur on their days. Shandu is deep in the Central Plains. Earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, all of these will not happen soon. Plus the official announcement has also been made, life is still quiet. A guy saw an advertisement for quick loans on a pole. He called this loan company and asked if he could mortgage his real estate with a property certificate. When he got there, he was immediately told that his house was not worth much. Su Chen asked how much he could borrow from them. Wang Dahai replied that the maximum the guy could borrow was 500,000, but first he needed to leave him the property certificate. Su Chen put his document on the table and said that he needs 100,000 more, right now. Let him not worry, he needs a week, make a profit and give him the money. Wang Dahai noticed that the guy was quite gambling. A fool who thinks he can change everything today. Su Chen saw a message on his phone that his current bank account was now 600,000 yuan. Yu said to make the guy pay for it. He will order his older brother to kill him. Suddenly, the girl noticed a person. He looked a lot like Su Chen. Yu said that it was really him. What was he even doing here? The girl offered to follow him, to see what he was doing. Su Chen remembers that many commercial buildings have collapsed due to the flow of sea water and severe frost. But Green City Hotel has withstood various natural disasters to the end. I hear the presidential suite is well equipped and there's even a pool. Great place as a base, you could stay here for a while. Although many warehouses have been emptied, there are plenty of hot meals and ingredients to go around. The girl said hello. She is the restaurant manager of Liu Xingrui Hotel. Do you need any help? Su Chen said that she wants to book 1,000 tables for the banquet. Can she do it? They have tables for 5,000, 10,000, 30,000, and even 100. Must be some rich guy, she thought. Make it 10,000 a table, that's 10 million. He'll put down a deposit of 500,000. He has to deliver everything to the address he's given, and he'll pay the rest in a week. The deposit of 500,000 a guy can pay here. The cost of training alone is estimated at 500,000, but the opportunity to socialize with wealthy people is worth it. The manager asked how she should address him. He replied that he was Su Chen. The girl inquired, is he planning a wedding? Su Chen replied that everything is for the wedding. Can she help her book the presidential suite? 10 million worth of food, paid for with a 500,000 deposit. In a burning post-apocalyptic world, even blocks of ice can be worth billions. The manager considers whoever marries him very lucky. Suddenly, Jiang Xiaoqian and Yu walked into the hotel. The girl asked, what was this person just doing here? The manager asked a counter-question, who are they? This guy's name is Su Chen, he's her fiancé. The manager said that her fiancé had booked a banquet for 1,000 tables and made a deposit of 500,000. She was really lucky to have such a fiancé. Jiang Xiaoqian said that it couldn't be. He can't have that much money to order a banquet worth 10 million. Wealthy people like to play the game of hiding their identity. They fear that their partners might be after their money, so they only reveal it on the wedding day. Jiang Xiaoqian asked, is that why they suddenly disappear and behave aloofly before the wedding? The manager showed them the check. He had just paid 500,000. The guy asked, it's a banquet for 1,000 tables in a 5-star hotel, who did he invite? Jiang Xiaoqian replied that the guy wanted to lead her into his rich circle and reveal his wealth. So what should they do? The girl replied that they should take the initiative and do their best for him. She had never imagined such a scenario in her life. Suddenly, it would happen because of him. I sold the house for 700,000, took out a high-interest loan of 600,000 and spent 500,000 on the banquet. However, you need more. The remaining 800,000 is not much. At this point, if he doesn't take out an online loan, it will be useless. Su Chen downloaded more than 80 apps at a time, took selfies 30 times, and the loan amounts ranged from 30,000 to 30 yuan. And in the end, he managed to get a loan of 970,000 yuan. However, there's no time to waste, there's still a lot more to buy. Fireplaces, ice makers, smokeless charcoal ice blocks are all unavailable in supermarkets. Fortunately, you can buy them online and delivery is pretty fast. Severe heat and severe cold, whether he can survive it or not depends on whether he has enough of everything he needs. A guy called the mine, he needs 2,000 tons of smokeless coal. He was told 2,501 yuan per ton. The price suits him, he will pay 500,000 yuan and the remaining amount will be paid after receiving the goods. Next, called the ice factory, he wants to order blocks of ice, but will come there for a personal discussion. But along the way, the guy met Jiang Xiaoqian and his girlfriend Li Na, always talking behind his back. This chick called her then to take over his house. The girl said that Xiaoqian was just testing him. Why is he so stupid? Jiang Xiaoqian asked if the guy could keep her company. She is not feeling well, so she yelled at him yesterday, let him not be angry. Su Chen took her hand away and said that he was busy today, let her walk alone. Isn't he this guy acting too arrogant? Su Chen got into the cab. The girls decided to go after him. This may be the last test for Xiaoqian. The man greeted Su Chen. The guy told Mr. Wu that they had already discussed all the details over the phone. How long will it take to deliver 2,000 tons of food ice? Mr. Wu replied that they don't really have much to brag about, but when it comes to promptness, they are definitely the best. In just 3 days, it will cost 400 yuan per ton, totaling 800,000 yuan. The guy took out his phone and transferred 100,000 yuan as a deposit. Have them deliver everything to the address he gave in 3 days. Mr. Wu asked why he needed so much ice. Is there a large-scale event coming up? He would be happy to collaborate with him again in the future. The price will be negotiable. Su Chen plans to donate it to charity. Mr. Wu was surprised. This guy made an 800k deal so quickly. He's just something. All of a sudden someone else showed up. No appointment? Jiang Xiaoqian said that Su Chen is her fiancé. What were they just talking about? Mr. Wu replied that this guy just ordered $800,000 worth of ice from them. The girls have now definitely realized that Su Chen is rich, super rich. Li Na asked, did the guy tell him what he was going to do with that much ice? The man replied that he would donate it to charity. The girls were shocked to hear this. Everything you need has been purchased and now it's time to enjoy the time before the apocalypse. In his previous life he was too busy working and didn't go to fancy restaurants. Even going to a small cafe was a luxury. Chicken and butter, smoked steak, all-purpose bread and juice. An upscale restaurant with a 4-digit price tag. But what is this question mark that sells for 17,000 yuan? The waitress said that the dish will be personally prepared by the chef of their music restaurant, Yaling. The ingredients depend on the chef's inspiration. The guy decided to start with this. In a past life, at the beginning of the apocalypse, a strange force caused many creatures to mutate. The monstrous serpent mentioned in the Shanhai Jing, appearing in the midst of the flood, resembles the mutated serpent he encountered. But instead of mutation, the guy prefers to call it atavism. The girl greeted him. She is the chef of Yalin Music Restaurant. This dish is made especially for Su Chen, basing on his temperament. The guy recognized her. It's Hell Chef Duan Ya. In her past life, she possessed the magical culinary skill of turning decomposition into food. No one could resist such temptation, but these dishes were prepared using the source of the monstrous beast mutation. Eating them would lead to certain death. The girl said this dish is called double life. The tuna is fried in butter on one side and deep fried in puff pastry on the other. It's a type of steak with 2 different flavors. Su Chen admitted, the taste is really pleasant. This 17,000 yuan was worth it. If only she could cook for him in the apocalypse. Li Na heard that every meal in this restaurant costs more than 10,000. When she becomes his wife, let her not forget about her sisters. She was nearly bitten to death by mosquitoes. Bar Arias Khan, Shandu's gold vault. Some rich guy spent 2 million here and didn't even get to see what abalone looks like. but there would be no such extravagant places in the apocalypse. He wished he'd been in a place like this in a previous life. The girl said it was their girlfriend Union's first time here. Her boyfriend cheated on her, so they brought her to have fun. Union said that scumbag didn't sleep with her and cheated with an old woman. He has no taste at all. Their men really don't care who to pounce on. Su Chen replied that the nature of a real man is engraved on his bones with reproductive desires. The girl finished her glass and asked if he was willing to comfort her. Jiang Xiaoqian and Li Na found him. Is he really cheating on her? Su Chen proposed to the cute girl to go out with him. Union realized that this guy was very manly. They quickly ran upstairs to one of the rooms, and Su Chen closed the doors immediately. He noticed the two of them and apologized. Union blushed and said it was her first time. The guy replied that she was drunk. Let her wake up. Let him stay in the house and stock up on food. Besides, people who are obsessed with love should not come to such places. It's a rare opportunity. It's really a big loss to leave like this, but with these two, there's no chance tonight. The next day, ice and coal were delivered. Su Chen said to bring the fireplaces and ice makers to the farthest part, so they wouldn't block the entrance. Xiaoyu shouted to Xiaoqian that Su Chen had rented a big warehouse in the suburbs and bought many big apparatuses. They were now being moved to the warehouse. What is this guy up to? Li Na saw that there was still a banquet being prepared from the Green City Hotel. They even have red carpets laid out. Maybe he'll suddenly propose and there'll be guests. Xiaoqiang said that even if the guy proposes, she might not accept. The girl saw him and asked him why he needed so much stuff. Su Chen asked for their help, needing to move things. And then tell them everything when they're done. I think he's kidding. She's going to be a rich lady. How can she even do such a hard job? Li Na thinks this is a test for her. To see if she's fit to become a rich lady. Without thinking for a long time, the girl made up her mind. She's not so innocent. To become a rich lady, one must be well-rounded. If she passes the test, Su Chen will definitely marry her today. Li Na also decided to help. She can't become his wife, but she can become his mistress. Can't let the labor go to waste. 1,000 tables of food, 2,000 tons of ice. Even if the hotel and the suppliers send people, it will still take a long time to move everything. They shifted things from morning to night without even having a snack. If she became a rich lady, she would definitely make all his money her own. He actually got them to move such heavy things. These blocks of ice weigh over 100 pounds each. The trial is over. Shouldn't Su Chen announce that she is now his bride? The rich guests should show up. Su Chen thanked the helpers for their hard work today. Let them accept this small token of appreciation. He will transfer the remaining funds within a week according to the contract. A tired Jiang Xiaoqian asked, didn't the guy have anything to say to her? Su Chen said he forgot. He thanked her for her help, but there will be no payment. Can go. He might have some kind of surprise for her. Must be having guests over? Maybe they'll get married and have a nice life. Su Chen would like to, but now he's sold the house, but also owes a lot of money. Does she still want to be with him? Li Na said it can't be. Over 10 million for this banquet, tens of thousands for restaurant expenses, and he says he's poor. Su Chen said that there is a big boss who wanted to do a good deed, so he is helping. They want to involve people in the poverty alleviation project in Alashan. Had he really been lying to her all this time? The boy wondered what he had lied about. Since he's not a second-generation rich guy, he can forget about marrying her. Su Chen asked, who would even want her as such a money hunter? Li Na said let him wait, she will make him regret it, he is definitely finished. Some idiots, when the apocalypse comes, they will weep and beg for help. Finally, all the supplies and resources are ready. Now all they have to do is wait for the apocalypse to come. Now that everyone's gone, we can open subspace and throw everything in there. Wang Dahai said Jiang Xiaoqian let her follow Xiaoyu in the future. And promises her a good life. In Shangju, his words still have some weight. The girl should have dumped him long ago and been with him instead. Jiang Xiaoqian said then looked forward to his actions. His older brother Wang Dahai will take care of this guy and also avenge her. Suddenly she noticed Su Chen. He was having dinner at the same restaurant where they were. Seeing him, Xiaoyu pointed his finger at the guy and said that he was the one who raised his hand on him. Wang Dahai planned to find him, but he did not expect that Su Chen's boyfriend would dare to touch his younger brother. He has strong nerves. Xiaoyu asked how did he know him? The brother replied that this guy mortgaged his house to him and borrowed $600,000. Tomorrow's payday. Looks like they can put the old and new accounts together. How did he even dare to borrow money from brother Xiaoyu? He probably won't be able to repay this debt in a lifetime. Fortunately, she is not related to him. The guy is so tired of them already, can't even enjoy a good meal. Wang Dahai said that he must return the money by tomorrow at any cost. But now he decided to enjoy the luxurious life in the hotel. Xiaoyu shouted that he wouldn't bring back a damn thing. Let him not waste his time on him. This useless guy dared to raise his hand on him. We need to finish him off. The manager came running out and said, "What's going on here?" They can talk it over. Wang Dahai told her to make this guy kneel down and apologize to him and his brother, and then they could consider the matter settled. The girl asked Mr. Su Chen what was going on here. He replied that it was nothing, just a few pests. Wang Dahai slapped the table with his paw. He had endured for a long time, but he was finished today. Even if the heavens came, they wouldn't be able to help him. Suddenly some man came in from behind and asked what they were doing here. Who let them yell in here? His name is Jiao Qian, a famous businessman in Shandu, but he also has a wide network in the underworld and has many people under him. Being his enemy is a bad idea. Wang Dahai apologized, but what was he doing here? The man replied that he had important things to do today. Let them not cause trouble here, or they will get what they deserve. Skull Crusher, Gao Zhang. During the apocalypse, he was the main force in Shandu. Hell Chef was also under his wing. Guy had heard that Green City was the first place where atavistic mutations occurred. Jiao Qian's ability that made him known as the Skull Crusher, explained by the early appearance of an atavistic mutation here. Looks like he should apologize too in that case. After all, his abilities will now become Su Chunya. The man noticed that this guy had an interesting look in his eyes. Jiao Qian said hello to Mr. San. He brought Miss Du and Ya as the latter had requested. The girl chef asked what Mr. Sun wanted to discuss with her. The man had heard that Miss Duan was an extraordinary beauty, and today he was finally able to meet her in person. To lighten things up, Mr. Sun offered the girl a glass of wine. In his past life, Su Chen hid with Jiang Xiaoqian in the basement and barely survived the apocalypse due to the intense heat. He never expected to leave her this time, and she would end up following on her own. This is just the perfect opportunity to settle an old score with her. Wang Dahai asked his younger brother if he thought it was hotter at night than during the day. He replied that's why he suggested going to the pool to freshen up. The girls in swimsuits will come out later. Pretty clever, just the thought of it thrills him. Li Na noticed that the moon was somehow bright today, almost like the sun. Xiaoyu said that his love for Jiang Xiaoqian shines as brightly as this moon. This is a testament to their love. Their love is about to explode. Welcome back to the apocalypse. The guys didn't understand why the moonlight was suddenly so hot, their skin burning before their eyes. They had only one chance to survive, and that was to go back to the hotel. Wang Dahai's men looked at them with a surprised look. Why did they suddenly start running and yelling? They flew into the hotel like they were running a cross-country race. What's happening to them? Why is their skin red? Their bodies were scorching so much that when they saw the aquarium they all went into it together. But where's their boss Wang Dahai? Looks like he's been left behind because he's overweight. Meanwhile, Mr. Sun asked the girl why she wasn't drinking. In Shangju, no one dares to drink the wine he pours. So let Jiao Qian stay out of it, it's none of his business. Oh, that Jiao Qian, for the sake of getting close to Sang Debiao, he even set her up. Mr. Sun thinks he is invincible in Shandu, hurting many women. Today, he's targeting her. There's probably something wrong with that drink. She definitely shouldn't drink it. But what should I do? Suddenly their eyes were blinded by the bright light of the moon. They immediately covered all the curtains of the room. Jiao Qian said that there was definitely something wrong here. Mr. San suggested going downstairs to see what was going on. The hotel manager tried to calm everyone down. They contacted the rescue team. Let them wait. Jiao Qian asked old Mao what was going on. He replied that the moon suddenly shone and the temperature rose. It is now about 70 degrees outside, and the news reports that about 100 people have been injured. San called Minister Zhao and said he was at the Green City Hotel. Could they send someone to pick him up? Minister Zhao is now working to ensure that there are no problems with food. No one can come, the situation is complicated. the assistant thinks his boss needs to go to the hospital. Xiao said it's too hot outside now, how will they get to the hospital? Wang Dahai said, don't let him worry. He will ask Xiao Dao to come over and pick them up. The guy called and said he was now in an underground parking garage. It is indeed very hot outside. However, walking out of the parking lot, all four wheels burst because of the warm asphalt. What a crazy weather today! Xiao Dao immediately called Brother Dahai and said that all four tires had not burst. He can't come, he has to go back. Suddenly his shoes stuck to the pavement and he fell. The bones of burned people were already lying around him. Those were his last breaths. No matter how much the guy tried to get up, everything stuck to the asphalt. Due to the sudden release of heat from the moon, the outside temperature rose to 75 degrees and the Earth's temperature reached 100 degrees. This event has already resulted in nearly 100 casualties. Have everyone stay indoors and avoid going outside to prevent skin and respiratory burns. The city's energy center couldn't take the heat and just blew up. Wang Dahai realized that Xiao Dao was no longer alive. The guy said that all the other rooms in the hotel were booked. There is only one available, so they will have to share it. Jiang Xiaoqian is furious. How can she share a room with them? Li Na said she is right, she needs a separate room too. The power's out, what's happening to this place? What are they supposed to breathe now? The air conditioning has gone out and the temperature is rising rapidly. It's over 40 degrees, they could suffocate if they stay here. The girl remembered that there was a swimming pool in Su Chanya's presidential suite. They could go and occupy it. Last time, the city's electricity supply had hidden dangers due to improper maintenance. No matter how much manpower was put in, the city's electricity still exploded. All users connected to the city's power grid were affected. That's why he specifically chose a room with a swimming pool. Also prepared vertical air conditioners and large backup batteries to provide room temperature. Looks like it's time to add some ice and everything will be perfect. While drinking the delicious sparkling and cold wine, the guy realized he was hungry. On the first day of the apocalypse, tomorrow should be easy. I wonder when Qian will have that opportunity. Suddenly, there was a knock on his door. Jiang Xiaoqian shouted for the guy to open the door. She knows the guy is there. Opening the doors, the first thing they felt was the cold that was coming from his room. Su Chen asked the guys, do they need anything? You could tell from his gaze that he was not happy to see them. So you saw the ice. This room not only has a pool, but also has electricity with food. They almost fried on the street and he's out here enjoying luxury. The guy is too selfish, the girl said. Wang Dahai held the door and said that Su Chen had borrowed a lot of money from him. It was time to pay him back. Let him give him the room, it will be the interest for those days. He tried to go inside, but the guy drew his weapon and stopped him. If he takes one more step forward, he can consider himself dead. Let them go and don't waste their time. If he wants to die, Su Chen said that he would count to 3, and he had better disappear from his sight. Meanwhile, downstairs of the hotel, Jiao Qian scolded the manager for not having food in the hotel. A few days ago someone booked 1,000 tables for a banquet and they were almost out of ingredients. Delivery was scheduled for today. Mr. Sun ordered to bring all the food and water that was left in the hotel. The rest of the people were not satisfied with what they heard. Just because he has money doesn't mean he can do whatever he wants. If he has money, why doesn't he leave? Jiao Qian saw Mr. Wang Dahai with his men. But why is the man limping? Looks like a gunshot wound? Not many people can take the responsibility of picking up a gun. There's a tough man living upstairs. Jiang Xiaoqian said that Su Chen's room had electricity, air conditioning, and even a swimming pool. She saw with her own eyes. There were even ice cubes, lots of food, fried chicken, and alcohol. It was just heaven. The people started a riot and gathered to march towards him. Jiao Qian told his men to get up and sort things out. He doesn't need to teach them, does he? The men went upstairs to discuss something with the guy. They immediately felt chilly near his door. The man yelled out, "Isn't this an emergency?" In the whole hotel, his room was the only one with air conditioning. Couldn't he let them in to cool down a bit? Kid sees fried chicken on a guy's desk. He broke into the guy's room right away. However, Su Chen managed to stop him. The kid needs to eat less to be faster. Let them watch their children. Otherwise he will teach them how to control. The crowd went wild. After all, it was only a child. How could he think of doing such a thing? Someone like him doesn't deserve to stay in this room. We should kick him out, he's alone. The guy drew his gun and fired straight ahead. He wouldn't spare anyone. Su Chen said, he may be alone, but they also only have one life. Xiaoyu shouted, why did the guys leave his brother outside? The guy said to calm down, brother Dahai is already dead, his wound was infected and beginning to rot. With such a fever, and without medication, he could not hold on any longer. It's all that fucking bastard Su Chen's fault. Xiaoyu said he would destroy him. The girls tried to change his mind. They know that the guy was just trying to scare them. Jiang Xiaoqian asked if he had forgotten how much she loved him. Let her just let them in, she'll do whatever the guy wants. They need to cool off a bit and are ready to keep him company tonight. Su Chen opened the door and said that this sisterly love is undoubtedly deep, let them come in. Their sweet conversation disturbed Xiaoyu, let them move out of the way, he would kill him. The guy said anyone who went inside would die immediately. The girls yelled that it was clear. They won't come in and outside is fine too. Then let them disappear. Suddenly people noticed a rescue vehicle around the hotel. Were they really saved? The tires have been replaced with projectors and the windows are barred. It's definitely a rescue squad car. Let everyone get out of the way. Is this where Academician Liu Zhengue is? A man yelled out that it was him. The squad leader told him to put on his hazmat suit soon, he was going with them. The others didn't understand what was going on, weren't they here to save them all? The commander told everyone to calm down. Authorities have already launched a rescue operation. Midnight is the coldest time of day. They will be able to make their own way to Silicon Valley tonight. That's the nearest rescue point. People were happy to hear the news. The authorities had not completely forgotten about them. San Debiao shouted that he'd give them 1 billion if they gave him a hazmat suit. He wants to get out of here right now. The man replied that Liu Zhengue is their geology expert. He plays an important role in this disaster. Don't let him interfere with their work. Mr. San called out to Jiao Qian, why such a useless guy? What's the use of him then? Have him bring him a hazmat suit. Jiang Xiaoqian told the soldier to wait. There's a murderer living upstairs. Li Na said that this killer has a gun and has killed several people. And he'll get to them soon. There is no way they can let this killer go free. It is the soldiers who must make the decision for them. One of the soldiers decided to stay. His name is Xiafen. Comrade said that this is a special situation, let him not act impulsively. He replied that he had the right to do so. Have them take their hazmat suits with them, and the guy will contact them after he's dealt with this. After Su Chen is shot, she can stay in this room and wait to be rescued. Xiafeng almost reached his room, but Su Chen threw several tear gas grenades. He realized that this was not good. We have to retreat quickly. His eyes sting. Where is he? It's so cold. His paperwork says the guy's name is Liu Xiafen, deputy captain of the special forces. Now that he's awake, they can talk. Around Xiaofeng is air-conditioned, ice cubes. Who is he really? And where did he get the gun and the flashbang grenades from? Su Chen is just a recent graduate. He acquired the gun and everything else on a trip to the Middle East. If he doesn't believe it, there's nothing he can do about it. The government has organized rescue stations for citizens to go to tomorrow morning? Xiafeng asked, how did he know about it? It seems to be the same as last time. Even though the temperature is dropping significantly in the early morning, staying under the moonlight for more than 10 minutes can still cause unconsciousness. Many people will die on the way to the rescue center. Xiafen said that there is no other way out. They have created safe zones, it is difficult to modify the rescue vehicles. This is the only chance for them to reach the point on their own. Su Chen said thick blankets and thick coats can also help lower temperatures. Keeping them from dropping will increase the likelihood of survival. Let him wait a minute, he can tell them about using thick blankets before the guy kills him. He just needs to use the radio, don't let him think, he'll be calling for backup. Su Chen cut the rope and said that he respected what the guy was doing, so he wouldn't kill him this time, but neither would he tolerate him provoking him again. Xiafeng asked, not afraid that he might call for reinforcements. That they would deal with him as soon as he left? Why should he be afraid? Let's look up, there's something interesting up there. It's a surveillance tower with facial recognition cameras and machine guns. Where'd he get something like that? The guy said earlier he brought it back from the Middle East. Once this thing activates, no one in this room will survive but him. But in this situation, he probably doesn't have time to deal with it either. Xiafeng understood everything. He told his men about the blanket, but he didn't say anything about what happened upstairs. Is this guy really that strong? Even a soldier can't handle him? Mr. Sun, meanwhile, decided to shake his men. Why the hell was he holding them back? Why didn't Jiao Qian start acting right away? Old man Mao asked Boss Jiao how much longer they would tolerate him. He replied that once order was restored, they would still need to use his connections there. Su Chen asked from the corner, in a time of chaos, Guo Qian still dreams of restoring order? Old man Mao wondered, where did this little brat come from? He must be destroyed immediately. Guo Qian stopped the old man. Tired and covered in sweat, the man asked why he had suddenly decided to go downstairs. Su Chen replied that he was here to make a deal with Boss Jiao and threw ice cubes on the table. Old man Mao thinks there's plenty of other useful stuff in his room. Why don't we kill him and take all that stuff? It's not that simple. Guo Qian told the guy to ignore him. It's better to let them talk about the deal. They felt an amazing feeling. Old man Mao said that it was the first time in these 3 days that he felt so good. Guo Qian thinks it's better to agree to his demands first and then look for an opportunity to kill him. By then, the room will be theirs. Their enjoyment was interrupted by Mr. San. How dare Guo Qian hide the ice cubes? Next time, if he doesn't voluntarily bring something to him, he can kiss his life goodbye. They're out of instant noodles. Without rescue help, they will surely starve to death. Dawn Ya still refuses to take off her clothes despite the heat. That's quite modest of her. Mr. Sun likes to play with people like her. He's in the mood right now, so let her go with him. The girl didn't think twice and slapped him. The old bastard, how dare he touch her? The man messed up her shirt a little bit. If she won't go with him, she'll have to play with him here. She's soaking wet, isn't she hot already? He could do her a favor and take it all off. Guo Qian came up from behind and said enough is enough. Mr. San replied that he should shut his mouth. Does he even know who he's talking to? Su Chen is right, the chaos has already arrived, so he might as well die with it. This place is now under his command. Everyone else will either go to the rescue station or die here. His words seem to have had an effect. Since Guo Qian was in charge here in his past life, if he expedited this matter, would he get an opportunity sooner? The girls begged Guo Qian to give them some. Li Na said she would do anything for it. If they want ice water, let them then follow him and do whatever he commands. Old man Mao asked, aren't they going to the rescue center? Guo Qian replied that it was the end of the world. If they want to survive, they must rely only on themselves. The rescue point is about 1 kilometer away. We don't know if they can even get there alive. But why do they still feel sorry for these freeloaders when they run out of supplies? The man replied, didn't Su Chen plan to use these people? They need some cannon fodder too. The girl asked what they were doing. Old man Mao said that big brother gave her ice water and now she wants to leave? Isn't that unfair? Besides, didn't they say they'd do anything? She just needs to be with him for a while. Ever since Jiao Qian took control of the supplies, they hadn't been given any water or food. Staying in a hotel is like dying of thirst, and going to a rescue point may offer a small chance of survival, but it's even hotter outside than they had imagined. Even with boards tied to the soles of their shoes, they could still feel the heat coming from the ground. And they wouldn't have succeeded without the loss. In a time like this, when you no longer know if you can survive on your own, no one has time to worry about others, even when it comes to family or loved ones. During an apocalypse, focus on survival first and foremost. In his past life, he had gone to a rescue station like them, but no one had reminded him to bring a blanket then, even though it was only a short kilometer. The guy doesn't know how many lives were sacrificed. Jiang Xiaoqian suggested having fun in the room instead of staying here. Suddenly the hotel windows were broken. Did they really turn into zombies? They could also turn if they were bitten, Xiaoyu asked. Jiao Qian suggested that he go and find out for himself. It seems like their body temperature is very high. Su Chen came with a sword and told them to stand aside. Jiao Qian said let him kill them and then they would kill him. During the apocalypse, corpses exposed to sunlight will mutate, but they won't become zombies or spread the virus. They are more like the demons of drought described in the Book of the Mountains and the Sea. Therefore he also calls them demons of drought. retain some memories or attachments from their previous lives. It was likely that in his past life, Jiao Qian had killed this person, prompting him to want to take revenge on him and become the first drought demon, and Wang Dahai became another drought demon because he was the one who killed him. Therefore, there was a possibility that Jiao Qian's strength would now become Su Chang's. It is a crystal core that can create a superhuman physique. It belongs to him now, and they can deal with it themselves. Jiao Qian pushed his brother Xiaoyu towards him again. Let everyone grab their weapons, they must be destroyed. During the apocalypse, similar crystal cores occasionally appear in the skulls of drought demons and mutant beasts. Such kernels are extremely rare, perhaps no more than 1 in 100. You need to carefully peel the crystal core and then swallow it immediately. Just by doing this, the body will be able to absorb energy from the crystal core. Jiao Qian still managed to destroy the mutant, but this was their last water, now there was nothing left. Meanwhile, at Old Man Mao's house, passions were running high. Li Na said that without water, they would still die of thirst. She could tell him how to destroy Su Chen if she let her go to the rescue station. Zhen Xiaoqian is Su Chen's fiancé. If he attacks her on her doorstep, the guy will definitely open the door, and then they can ambush him. The girl said she could cooperate with them. But she is hungry, they have to give her food first. She wants meat very badly. Their leader Jiao Jian heard her request. Since she wants meat, it's up to her. Li Na shouted, "What is she up to? They are sisters, she can't do this. Let her not deceive herself." Are they really sisters? Just now, Li Na even suggested using her as bait, so don't let him blame her. If he wants to blame anyone, it's himself. Zhen Xiaoqian said that after being satiated, she would go up to Su Chen and drink all of his blood. Jiao Jian ordered Old Man Mao to tell Duan Ya to prepare the meat. They need to eat well to gain strength. This is the only way to deal with Su Chen. He won't last a day without water. If he doesn't want to turn into a dried-up corpse, he'd better comply. Is it a physical type ability? Guy feels his resistance to heat has improved. His muscles and strength had increased several times too. It's a very pleasant feeling. Duan Ya knocked on the guy's door. She realizes it's no longer safe downstairs. It's her only hope, but there's still some trump cards to play. Su Chen opened the doors to say hello, but he forgot to get dressed. He apologized for a long time, saying it was an accident. "Oh, what a rascal," the girl said. Su Chen said that his resources were limited. They just met. He can't take her in just because she's pretty and a good cook. Duan Ya believes that she is not only a chef, but also an outstanding graduate of Southwestern Medical University. She has a diploma and 3 years of experience as a surgeon. The fact that she's a doctor is indeed very tempting, but resources are scarce right now. And there's no telling if they'll be able to survive until tomorrow. As long as the guy doesn't kick her out of the building, she'll do whatever he needs her to do. Duan Ya realizes that she needs to prove herself to stay here. Su Chen said, since she spoke like that, she could just consider this place her home. Did she really say something unnecessary? However, the guy warns that she must behave decently in front of him. No ulterior motives. Duan I understood it all, and I never doubted his methods and determination. That's very good. Now let her undress. The girl didn't understand. Was it really time to start? Water, electricity, food, and even the ability to take a shower. No need to worry about the hot weather, no need to worry about others eating you, and no need to worry about those outside. This place is just paradise. This Su Chen isn't really good. But she had no other choice. It was quite tasty. Can forget it. He's thought it through before he starts. And he's not doing it to peek, just to stop her from doing anything inappropriate. Duan Ya asked, "Is this outfit too small for her?" Su Chen said it was perfect. She loves medicine. People were knocking on the door and asking for help. Let him save them. Jiao Jian said that he would break down the door if he didn't come out. Duan Ya said they can't open the door. These people have already eaten Li Na. If they open the door, they are finished. Su Chen opened the door and said don't be in a hurry to break it down. If it is damaged, there will be trouble. They're no longer human, they're mutants. But their plan worked. The guy finally got out. But they don't know that Su Chen has become much stronger and faster. Zhen Xiaoqian tried to grab the guy, but nothing happened. Su Chen knows that as soon as she tasted human meat, her body mutated and she grew fangs. Now she is no longer human. Jiao Jian said, either way, it's the end of the world. Who cares if they eat people if they can survive? The mutated Jian Xiaoqian thought that meat was so delicious. After eating it, her body was filled with strength, so she can't wait to taste it. It's so white and clean. If there had been a goal behind them, the guy would have definitely scored a great free kick. Jian Xiaoqian dropped out of the window but managed to grab on with one hand. She wouldn't let go of her fiancé so easily. The others decided to try their luck and attack him all together. The main thing is that the guy didn't have time to draw his gun. Su Chen asked, did they really think he needed to waste ammunition on them? Although he likes to trample trash like them into the dirt. They're useless anyway. Old Man Mao said that they were now stronger, their reaction and speed had even improved. Even when the guy is alert, he still can't attack every single one of them. Su Chen gently touched his head and asked, has he finished speaking yet? If so, he can say goodbye to life. Old Man Mao was the most talkative. Su Chen thought that their leader would at least be able to change in some way, but it seems like it wasn't fate. Suddenly, Jian Xiaoqian flew in from the window. Something was obviously wrong with her. She turned into this so quickly, it seems her attachment is pretty deep, but if she doesn't disappear, he'll have to kill her again. The girl had seen Su Chen single-handedly take out Gao Qian's entire gang. He's really great, but this monster gives off a very dangerous vibe. It must be stronger than the others. If she wants to stay by Su Chen's side, she must think of a way to help him. Duan Yue can't be a burden to him. The girl picked up the weapon and said let her help him defeat this monster. Su Chen replied that she was smart for not being afraid and hiding, but alas would only be a distraction to him. He's turned on Berserk superpower mode. Now shall we see who's stronger? She can't bite him. I guess those fangs are just for show. What a lovely lady. Is she ready to feel a wonderful massage from her lover? Su Chen had planned for her to suffer longer in the apocalypse, slowly agonizing to death, but now he would have to kill her sooner. The mutant grabbed the nearest corpse and simply swallowed it. Looks like she can regenerate severed limbs? How is that possible? Su Chen said that it was great. If this mutant could regenerate, then it wouldn't be so easy to kill. It also means the guy can tear it apart many more times. He's very interested to see how many times her body can regenerate. Left, then right, tail and both legs. Turns out it was the first round. Since things recovered so quickly, she's ready for a second one. Then it was rounds 3, 4 and 5. We're up to the 8th. In this round, Su Chen decided to remove not only his limbs, but also his eyes and tongue. On the 16th round, the internal organs were also able to regenerate. It seems that except for the head, everything can regenerate. But why did it take so long after the 21st time? The guy wanted to gouge his eyes out, but changed his mind. After all, he's not the devil. It was all for retribution. Su Chen had never loved her so much. Finally, after all this time, he was able to get back at her. Duan I asked if he was okay. He said, is she ready? Su Chen had just accomplished such a feat. Shouldn't she be willing to reward him? Meanwhile, at the rescue station, it appeared to the military that the temperature outside was normalizing. The captain asked, could it be that the apocalypse was coming to an end? Xiaofeng told her to turn around and look into the distance. A large number of people were approaching them. Taking a good look, the captain replied that it was a zombie. Have her quickly evacuate the civilians from the rescue station, she would hold them off. The boy begged her in every possible way to give it up. But the captain said it was an order, let her get out of there. Su Chen at this time warned his lover that he would let her experience the power of Berserk. Duan Yue was shocked at his words. How many times has this been repeated already? The guy said the intense heat was over, he needed to go out for a while, and of course he would leave her with unforgettable memories. The people who surround him must meet two conditions. First, they must be valuable, and second, they must obey his orders without question. Su Chen now definitely realized that Duan Yue had completely obeyed him. He must hurry back before the seawater rushes in. Many zombies from the past life, driven by an obsession to reach the rescue site, eventually formed a tidal wave attacking the rescue station. Many civilians and soldiers were killed as a result of the zombie attack. This incident also resulted in a large number of live weapons being scattered, and thus the various factions were formed. A distraught man shouted to Su Chen to stop the car. The guy asked, is he out of his mind? How dare he even dare order a car to stop and rob him at the same time? Su Chen did not think for a long time and scratched their backs with the hood of the car. Just like in his previous life, the walls cracked from the scorching sun, and combined with the onslaught of a wave of zombies, this eventually caused the subway station to collapse. Guy reckons the number of people who have died underground is in the thousands. All those zombies downstairs are attracted to the roar of cars. But not all zombies have crystals in their heads. It would take too long to crack open each skull one by one. First, he'll see how things are going in college. This is his first return to an engineering university after graduation. The commander-in-chief immediately warned that he was entering their territory, so he'd better let him turn in his belongings. Su-chen asked if they could help and let him pass. He has some stewed chicken feet. The guys were shocked to see chicken feet at a time like this. Let him hurry up and throw them to them. Su-chen threw a chicken leg into the center of the room. However, he only had one. They all rushed after him, but disappointment awaited them. Su-chen apologized and said that they were not worthy of eating that chicken leg. Hearing these words, the guys raised their weapons and started attacking him. But they didn't know what our main protagonist was capable of. He doesn't remember having so many idiots in his past life. Maybe it was his advice that helped more people survive that led to these situations? Su-chen noticed that no one had entered this lab for a long time. Many snakes have died and the air is filled with the smell of decomposition. He had finally found the future leader of the water rattlesnake army. The same golden king snake. Now the guy realized how she survived. By eating the other snakes. In his past life, this snake was one of the first to undergo an atavistic mutation. It had eaten quite a few people and almost swallowed him. In a week's time, when the flooding starts, it will begin to mutate. Su-chen doesn't know how much the snake will have changed by then. If he can't defeat it, it will be problematic. Why does it seem to him that this snake has gained his mind? He needs to be careful. Suddenly, Su-chen heard strange sounds. Looks like he's not alone in there. One of them yelled for him to come out. No need to hide in there. Su-chen said that this is a critical moment. He can't let them bother him. The commander intervened in their conversation. She destroyed everyone in a matter of seconds. Su-chen assessed her movements. Who was she and what was she doing here? In one easy motion, the girl swept the guy's shaft aside and switched to a painful hold. However, the commander didn't realize what was happening. She can't turn around. Su-chen put her on a chair and beautifully wrapped the red rope around her. Her name is Bai Kang, captain of the Special Operations Unit, Azure Tiger. The girl advised to behave herself and let her go. Su-chen asked, does she know anyone named Lu Xiafen from the Special Forces Squad? Bai Kang was shocked. How did he know him? The one replied that he had saved his life once. A group of fugitives took over the school, used the students as hostages, and stole his weapons. When the zombie horde attacked the rescue station, Xiafen led the civilians to leave first, but he didn't expect that some escaped prisoners had infiltrated the ranks of the ordinary civilians. Su-chen thinks it's her fault. Bai Kang said that as long as they have guns in their hands, these people have nothing to fear. But how long is he going to keep her tied up? Let him untie her, and soon. Su-chen replied that he would untie her if she promised not to squeeze his head with her legs. The girl said that in that case, she wanted steak. Bai Kang warned that she had her own things to do, so she couldn't help him much. She could only provide some fire support. Su-chen told her to hurry up and leave. There's no need to be annoying. The captain plans to secretly attack their fortress. Only by recovering the looted supplies can the people trapped in the school survive. So this may be their first and last meeting. Su-chen heard the word supplies and thought about it. Shouldn't we help her? Xiafen is his brother, so let him help. She'll definitely need it. The private informed the boss that all the guys were waiting outside. This time they were definitely going to deal with those students in the dormitory. The boss replied that fine, let those who had not shown willingness to fight before go to the front. If someone is destined to die, let it be them. Su-chen broke in from battering down the doors and apologized for interrupting their meeting. The guys wondered who he was and how did he even get inside? There are over 20 people on guard outside. Su-chen replied that he got to them like this and showed the gun with 2 fingers. Oh, bang 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 bang. No one realized what happened. The guy just pointed at him and he died instantly. The boss said he's a punk. Stop fooling around. The target has been destroyed, but there are still many thugs out there. Su-chen is now in a very dangerous situation. Bai Kang was still confident that his plan to lure the enemy alone was too risky. Su-chen told her to take a sniper rifle and go to the roof of the opposite building. He would lure the enemy and then she would have to shoot whoever he pointed at. The girl herself can't believe she agreed to his absurd plan. The captain anxiously asked why the curtains had suddenly closed, what had happened at his place. It wasn't Su Chen's voice that came through the earpiece. It told him not to think that if he put a simple sniper on the outside, he could do everything. Bai Kang had expected him to be noticed. Let Su Chen find a way to stall for time, she would save him soon. The girl came into their room screaming that she was here and would avenge him. However, Su Chen had already handled everything by himself. She is late, there are no supplies here, the boss said he can't kill him. The people behind him won't let him get away with it. Su Chen replied that he didn't need to worry. They would join him soon. Bai Kang gaped and asked, how did he handle everyone by himself? The one replied that he was just practicing regularly. Besides, there were no more supplies here, and they were probably already hungry and weak. The girl wondered if anyone else could have raided them. Now that everything necessary was over, what would happen to the students? Su Chen thought that if need be, he would share some of the things he had just gathered with them. But of course, it depended on how they behaved. The guy said they had to hurry, they had to go to the women's dorm. He had asked them earlier. Shifan and the other students gathered there. The gang captain thought of Sis Jia. She ran away again and is causing trouble. They finally found it and he immediately told his subordinate to release her immediately. The captain asked, she had been hanging here for days now pretending to be a prisoner. Had she found that feeling she was looking for? She was on the cusp of death, and the girl asked the Steel Fang for comfort from him. The man replied that he could not refuse her a favor. Let her bend down and he would comfort her. The author of the manhwa decided to show with this that people went a little crazy during the apocalypse. Steel Fang asked how she was feeling. The girl replied that she was feeling much better. But who took all his supplies? Sister Jia said it was the devil. Let her say his name and he will make her pay for everything. The girl replied that his name was Su Chen. Meanwhile, in the women's dormitory, Private Shifan arrived with his team and the civilians. The guy asked what Su Chen was doing here. Captain Bai replied that the guy said he was his brother. Su Chen saw his wound and said that it was quite serious. Let him take a look at it. Shifan said that it was just a scratch, but for some reason it was getting worse. Su Chen thinks they are cannibals, those creatures that eat people. Their fingernails are full of bacteria and viruses. Without medication, it could be life-threatening, but nowadays, medicines are rare and impossible to find. But to die like this, he can't accept it. Su Chen gave him a stack of medicine and said that it should be enough. Su Feng wondered, where did he get so much medicine from? The latter replied that, like he had said earlier, he was his brother. In his past life, a man whose combat power was comparable to a humanoid nuclear bomb, known as the God of War, served in the military. If this person is Lu Sefeng, his investment will not go to waste. The guy said he owes him now, but he knows he didn't come here just to bring medicine. Let him say what he wants. Su Chen replied that the Great Flood was about to begin. They should all evacuate immediately. The extreme heat has already caused glacier to melt rapidly, leading to seawater inundation. By then, the entire landmass will be inundated by flood waters. One of the girls from the crowd shouted that this was nonsense. Where is this flood going to come from? She thinks he just wants to drive them away and monopolize the school's resources. The same Fan Qin, his classmate, a second-generation major and a famous university boxer, likes to create a ruckus about gender inequality. The girl looked at his bag and asked him if he had any food. She tried to take the bag from his hands, but received a gentle slap. The girl spit out her molar. How dare he slam her so gently? People were screaming that it was a good slap in the face. She was giving them so much trouble. The girl single-handedly got the whole dormitory. They've had enough of her for a long time, let her throw her out. Su Chen saw that she was notorious here. Fan Qin shouted, how dare they talk to her like that? She would find her father and order them all to be killed. Bai Kang asked, is this normal? Su Chen replied, is she going to stop her? Let her look for her father. The girl thinks that all men in this country are beneath her, especially Su Chen. They are no match for the noblemen from abroad. Steel Fang grabbed her and asked, does she know where Su Chen is now? Guy decided to have Captain Bai Kang handle the evacuation process. The most important thing right now was to wait for the golden king snake to mutate and then catch it. But will he be able to get the hydrokinesis ability by then? Suddenly, Su Chen heard Fang Qin's voice. It seems like she needs help. Seeing her, the guy asked, "Did she find her father so quickly?" The man introduced himself by saying he was a Steel Fang from the Federal Bureau of Evolution. How dare the guy steal their supplies? He mistook him for a guy with 3 heads and 6 arms. Steel Fang had even prepared a gift for him for this meeting. So is he ready to die? Or are his pants already wet? He can have the last word. The guys heard strange sounds. Could it be from where Su Chen went? Bai Keng said she'll go check it out. Shifan let her stay guard here. However, the guy immediately refused the captain. He will go with her. Steel Fang asked, "Is that his classmate? How about he give him a chance to be a hero and save the pretty girl? If he gets on his knees and begs him, he'll let her go." Su Chen said that in fact, it is not really impossible to save her. The girl said, "Then let him hurry up and kneel down to save her." However, there is one problem. The girl wondered what other problem? Didn't he say he would save her? How can he recant? Is he a man or what? Su Chen replied that of course he was a man, but he was not worthy to be his rescuer. How about he help her contact those foreign gentlemen she was talking about and see if they would be willing to rescue her? Just because she called him inferior, because of such a small thing, he decided to take revenge on her like this? Doesn't really think she's going to apologize and beg him to save her, does he? The truth is, the guy is completely pathetic and she doesn't need him to save her. Su Chen hopes that in time, she will remember her words. Fan Qin cried out for help, but this was the choice she had made. Steel Fang was surprised. The guy really was the kind of guy who wouldn't help in a difficult situation. But that was okay. Anyway, he would join her soon. Now let him show him the technology of their Federal Bureau of Evolution. Let him just put the powder on himself and these monsters will obey him. Sprinkling ashes on himself? It really makes them think he's one of them. Steel Fang shouted for the monsters to grab him and rip him to shreds. You might think that Su Chen has adopted the posture of a wolverine, but you are deeply mistaken. 2 sharp swords appeared in his hands, and he walked over those zombies like he'd finished a bucket of popcorn before the movie started. Steel Fang was shocked beyond belief that the guy dared to play with him before he died. But how did the guy manage to get so close to him? And what will he do this time? Su Chen is completely surrounded. Steel Fang shouted to attack. Why are they standing around? The guy replied, "Let him not bother yelling. It's pointless." The man asked what he meant by that. The man replied that he had already finished with them. Su Chen never wanted to have anything to do with their Federal Evolution Bureau. Who told him to come and kill him? If he doesn't tell, he can't keep him his dog's life. Well, if he hasn't said anything, he's made up his mind. The problem was solved in an instant. This is definitely not something that can be achieved through training alone. What kind of monster is this guy? Dealing with this little thing, he should be much more restrained. It would be nice to have a capable assistant here. Meanwhile, Duan Ya was sleeping sweetly and had a great dream involving Su Chen. She yelled for him not to leave her here alone. Why hasn't he come back yet? The girl woke up in a sweat. What had that guy done to her? All her thoughts were on him. Duan Ya recalled Su Chen's words. If she will be useless, what qualities does she possess to stay with him? There was no way she was going to be a burden to him. And she had definitely decided that she wanted to be his right hand. She heard a strange voice, and it was coming from this very room. Suddenly a huge pumped-up man, a zombie, stood in front of her. How did he get here? The girl thought it was something incredible. Her path was blocked by a table. She remembered the gun in her hand, but the zombie managed to hit her in the arm and disarm her. Is she doomed to die? Is there even the slightest chance of survival? However, the stupid zombie missed and just tasted the chair. Du and I didn't realize what was going on. What's that guy doing? Is he sniffing something? She assumed he couldn't see anything. She got lucky this time, but now the zombie is too close. If she makes a single sound, it will attack. What should she do? If only she could have reached for the gun, she would have left him brainless in an instant. It's only a little while away, but he seems to have sensed something. The girl remembered what Su Chen had said. If she found the crystal core in the monster's head, she would gain new abilities. Duan Ya doesn't consider herself useless. She turned around and stuck her stiletto in the zombie's eye. She wished Su Chen could have seen this. She's not useless at all. The girl decided to see if he had a crystal core in his head. At the University of Engineering, Bai Kang and Lu Shifan followed Su Chen's advice and began organizing the evacuation of students. Bai Kang even contacted her brother Bai Ming, asking him to bring his troops to join them and ensure the safety of the students. And the snake that Su Chen paid special attention to had also started to mutate. Su Chen even prepared a large bucket of water for her. Snake needs to get into the water to complete his mutation. This will save him a lot of trouble. Such strong growth in the early stages of mutation? It's a good thing he was only given a bucket of water. If it had waited for the flood, it would have been a disaster, but now that she had decided to submit to him, he might consider keeping her as a pet. The snake decided to run away. The guy thought it had wised up a bit, but unfortunately it's not fast enough for him. Su Chen walked on the snake skin and stuck his blade into it. The scales were too hard and the blade wouldn't work. He decided to just beat it to death with his fists. However, the snake trapped him. Su Chen said very cunningly, the attack was just a distraction. Is that its true purpose? The brother asked his sister, why is she watching around? Can't bear to break up with that handsome Su Chen? The woman replied to shut him up. Does she really like the guy? But if he stays here, isn't he doomed? The girl thinks he won't die. When she first saw him, she felt that he was very powerful. That deep gaze, mysterious and inscrutable, it's like he's a monster. They'll definitely meet him again. Su Chen had heard that snakes have very developed nerves. Even if you cut off their heads, they can still bite. But what if you do that? Looks like she wasn't that smart. And probably hasn't brushed her teeth in a long time. Su Chen was excited to see what kind of abilities she could give her. If extreme heat robbed people of their will, the floods that swept across the world completely destroyed human civilization. Even towns as far from the coast as Shandu could not escape the devastation of the flooding. Due to the low topography of the engineering university, only tall buildings such as the administration building remained above the water. Meanwhile, Su Chen, who had absorbed the crystal core of the Golden King Snake, was now underwater. As expected, absorbing the Golden King Snake crystal core gave him new abilities, and his body underwent further changes. Not only did tiny scales appear on his body after coming into contact with the water, but his strength also increased, and my eyes became more sensitive to light, as if a protective film had formed in front of them. He doesn't use his mouth or nose to breathe, but he doesn't feel suffocating. It's like his breathing through his skin. While not the ability to manipulate water, the ability to breathe underwater is quite useful. Floodwaters are coming from the Green City Hotel area. There is an option to swim upstream against the current. But the current is strong and the debris in the water acts as a hidden weapon. The volcano's eruption has reached its peak. Since Shandu is far away from it, the sky all looks relatively clear. When huge amounts of volcanic ash fill the air, covering the sun, Judgment Day is just around the corner. In the face of these apocalyptic events, human civilization is nothing but nothing. In order not to become a victim, we need to strengthen our strength. In his past life, after the Great Because, Shandu had witnessed the emergence of several powerful factions. The low-lying area in the northern part of the city, forming the water area, was occupied by the army of the Golden Serpent King and the Female Corpse King. The southern part of the city became a gathering place for a cannibal tribe, the Eater clan. The western part of the city was under the control of the Rat King and his army of rats. The eastern part was occupied by the Skull Crusher Jiao Chen from the Green City Hotel. Su Chen had almost died at his hands several times, but in this life, he had already dealt with Jiao Kang and the Golden King Snake before time. To stay strong, the best way is to mine the remaining crystal cores. However, the Devourer clan has a larger population and numerous factions. The Female Corpse King is elusive, so finding her now is almost impossible. In a past life, the University of Technology had a rat epidemic. The Rat King had to be there. If he found it beforehand, he could get its crystal core with minimal effort. Looks like he got a little too comfortable. Ended up surrounded by monsters. Meanwhile, two men were trying to keep themselves alive by climbing the tower. The bearded man yelled that he saw someone swimming toward them. Junior said to stop making a fuss. Right now anyone in the water is dead anyway. The guys know him, it's Su Chen. Didn't this guy drown in the flood? If the Bureau hadn't sent them to follow this guy, they wouldn't be stuck in this flood. If he dares come up here, he'll drop him with a kick right into the water. Beardy said this guy's moving really fast. And it looks like something's chasing him. The guy saw this crowd, some creatures in the water. But why is Su Chen swimming so fast against the current? The bearded man yells that they're from the Federal Bureau of Evolution. He warns him not to come any closer. In this life, has their influence already spread that far? That means the guy can get some information about the situation. Su Chen jumped out of the water with ease. It was as if he had pushed himself off the trampoline. The guy stood with one foot right on the bearded man's face and he almost fell, but his brother managed to catch his arm. Junior shouted to the man not to be afraid, he would be sure to get him out. The bearded man said he was too heavy, let him go. If this keeps up, they'll both die. Junior replied that he would never let him go. If they were to die, they would die together. Su Chen from above told him to tell him what he knew about the Federal Bureau of Evolution. He sent him away, and he said he'd never tell. Even if he killed them, there would be others to avenge them. Su Chen thinks that's a good thing. He has courage, but then, don't let him blame him. He knocked himself down, it wasn't his fault at all. Young rushed to save his brother. They both found themselves surrounded by monsters and Su Chinyu had to rescue them. The guy once again cut them to pieces with his mighty swords. The young one wondered, who is this guy? Maybe he's not human, the guy is too strong. He owes him a debt of gratitude and will tell him everything he knows. They were actually sent by the Federal Bureau of Evolution to keep tabs on him. It's located in a science and technology university and is led by Chief Liu and a team of researchers. They just do what they are told. Whatever orders come from above, they are obliged to follow them. Last time, the rat disaster also happened at a science and technology university. There seems to be a connection between the rat disaster and this FBE. Su Chen asked, are they doing a rat study there? The guy replied that only researchers are allowed in the lab. They don't know much about what goes on inside. No matter what, he must go there and scout out the situation before the rat catastrophe unfolds. Meanwhile, Duan Ya, who is still in Green City Hotels, luckily extracted the crystal core from the zombie's head. The girl was pleased with this success, but immediately another trouble came. The water reached her floor. Suddenly some slimy thing enveloped her. Duan Ya is completely confused and can't move at all. And too much, she didn't even have time to get used to her abilities. If she finds and eats the crystal core, she can get its ability. But many monsters look ordinary, and you can't tell from their appearance what ability the crystal has. At that time, Duan Ya didn't understand how she would realize what ability she had obtained and how she would be able to use it. Su Chen said she needed to feel her body and surroundings. Feel every change, and then try to master it and control it. Suddenly the girl felt, is it their little brains? It made her very angry. Now she's all sticky and there's something wrong with her body. The girl is going to slice them all up like tofu. She's sorry you can't eat them. She'd make some kind of delicacy. Now she's all dirty. She needs a shower right away. Suddenly from behind someone asked her if she could join her. Duan Ya turned around and asked who was there. Su Chen replied that it wasn't bad. She even thought about bringing a weapon for defense. The girl ran up to him and hugged him tightly. He was finally back. She had been so worried, but suddenly she felt something. What was he pressing against her? Duan was shocked. Why is the guy without clothes again? The one replied that the water was too dirty, so he took off all his clothes. But we'll take a shower right now. Su Chen said it is a pleasant feeling. Only when he goes outside does he realize that home is still the best. The guy asked if he had awakened any ability. Didn't he see it? Su Chen replied that he didn't see anything, but he felt from the temperature of his mouth. Duan Ya believes that these are abilities to control the mind. Su Chen asked, could this ability be used to control people? The girl replied that she didn't know, she might need to practice on him first. Duan Ya changed her clothes and asked Master, how about this kind of practice? Suddenly she noticed some devil beside Su Chen. Was it really his mind power? If it wasn't for him, she would have passed out the moment she tried to influence him. The guy saw that it was a pretty good ability. Then we can proceed to the next step. He'll make her practice until her legs give out and she can't stand up. The next day, Su Chen practiced her shooting technique. Let her concentrate her mind, control it with her thoughts, and then set a goal. Duan asked if he was going to go to the University of Technology. Why does he still have time to teach her how to shoot? Su Chen replied that he was giving her half a day to familiarize herself with her abilities and shooting skills. He remembered that she was from a medical university. The girl said that's right. Then in that case she would go with him. It's time to show your usefulness. Duan asked, is it normal for her to go out like that? He said it's fine. Even if she doesn't wear anything, no one can do anything to her. Had he ever been to a science and technology university before? The boy replied that he had come to visit a friend. He wondered if he had survived. The girl said to let her worry. Good people have good luck. They finally arrived. It's a science and technology university. Suddenly, someone started attacking their boat. Su-chen immediately covered his girlfriend. The guard asked who they were and what they were doing here. This is the science and technology university where the mutant rat king rebelled last time. Su-chen replied that they were here to join FBE. Could he open the gate for them? The man asked, is the girl a rabbit? Let this cute girl spend the night with him and he let her enter. And let Su-chen go back to where he came from. Duan Ya offered him some pork stew. Could he open the gate for them? The man opened his mouth and freaked out that they had real pork stew. The guard ordered Lu Dao to open the gate and hurry up. He hadn't seen meat in ages. Have him park the boat at the curb and give him that pork stew. Actually, it was just Duan Ya's hypnosis. There's no pork stew in there. The man's excited. He smells really good. He'll let them in for now, but they'll send the guy to the lab later. Lu Dao said he would show them the way. Let them keep up. Since they will all be living on the base from now on, it's only right that they help each other out. The lower levels are for the elderly, children and other scum. He'll take them upstairs where they'll find a clean room. Suddenly, some little kid crashed into him. Lu Dao asked, can't he walk normally? The kid apologized and said he was a little dizzy. Duan Ya said she was too weak from hunger. Where are her parents? The child replied that they had gone in search of food and had not yet returned. The girl said she had a piece of bread, could eat. The child asked, if she eats the bread, won't her bunny sister go hungry? Su-chen said, let the little one not worry, the bunny sister will not stay hungry. The kid thinks he's lying. In their time, everyone is starving. Su-chen said that she could doubt his character, but let her not doubt his strength. As long as Duan Ya is his woman, she will not stay hungry. The child bawled her eyes out and said she wanted to be his woman too. The girl said that children should not say stupid things, let him eat and keep quiet. Suddenly, people smelled the smell of food. Is someone cooking? The man asked, don't they know it's against the rules to hoard food? All materials must be previewed and then exchanged for points, but he doesn't remember anyone sharing food in the last few days. Who's breaking the rules? The little girl was very scared and started crying. Duan Ya said not to be afraid, she would make sure they didn't do anything. The girl asked, hadn't he been fighting all this time just for food? It's all prepared for him. Let him enjoy it as much as he likes. A huge amount of different meats appeared before their eyes. That familiar feeling made them want to cry. This is delicious. The man said she was a reasonable girl. He's going to punish her tonight. However, this newcomer broke the rules and should be punished. Su-chen asked, oh seriously, will he punish him? The punishment is a life or death duel with these two powerful guys. Either kill them or be killed by them. Su-chen remembered that it was those two brothers. What had happened to them? When the girl saw them, she started to cry even harder. They were her brothers. The guy said they failed the mission and couldn't score points, so they were sentenced to death. But killing them outright was a waste of time. So they kept them around to have a little fun. However, the man didn't expect Su-chen to know them. This becomes even more interesting. He decided if he loses the duel, he will throw this little girl into the water along with her brothers to feed the water monsters. These two brothers seem to be in some kind of insane state. Have they been injected with anything illegal? The brothers started to attack. However, Su-chen simply knocked them out by hitting them once each. The girl almost burst out of Duan Ya's arms. She said that there was no need to worry, they would be fine. The man wondered, were they done yet? It looked like he had wasted 2 doses of his medicine. In any case, they were just 2 useless pieces of junk. He's in a good mood today. If he gives up his supplies, he'll pretend nothing happened. Su-chen asked, so why should he give him his supplies? A man with a rooster on his head shouted that anyone entering the Science and Technology University should follow Boss Liu's rules to maintain order and weed out freeloaders. If he wants to stay, he needs to earn contribution points, can earn them by transferring resources or finding supplies. It is just like money, but it is obviously beneficial to those who make the rules. Su-chen said that they ate everything he had. He had nothing left. All of a sudden, Captain Go shows up. If he wants contribution points, he can work for it. free food and lodging, availability of high-paying positions. They don't have enough people, they're just in time. Especially Bunny Girl. He will give her a can of mixed meat and unlimited instant noodles every day. It's the apocalypse now, industrial production has stopped, he's making a big sacrifice for them. One of the assistants shouted out that their boss was making them a generous offer. If the boss gets a new woman, he will allow a patty with the previous woman. Suddenly, Captain Gua smelled the smell of food. He asked, "What did they eat?" The guys just now remembered that eating meat without the boss's permission is a death sentence. They began to beg him to give them another chance. In the future, they would always bring him food first. Captain Gua yelled for them to shut up. That smell of shit was killing him. He saw through Duan Ya's mental control. He didn't seem to be affected in any way. The boys had a sudden stomachache and had to retreat to the nearest restroom. Captain Gua asked, how come he ended up in the company of such idiots? One day he would get rid of all these fools. Su Chenyu thought it was strange, he couldn't sense any ability from this guy, but there was a very powerful aura coming from him, and under his influence, everyone was out of Duan Ya's mental control. Judging from his subordinates, nothing good could come from him. Killing them now will complicate his plans. First, he needs to find the mutant rats. Captain Gua asked him what he thought of his proposal. He replied that he was not interested. Let him not worry, one day he will come to him to beg for alms. He ordered Lu Dao to take a position, he had to go. Duan Ya apologized, his mental strength was very great, her ability had no effect on him. Su Chen said that it was not her fault. If these guys don't die after eating the corpse of a water gulch, then there is definitely something strange here. They need to be careful. A guy came up to them and said they had pissed off the guards. Now they won't let them go. How does he know his name? Su Chen should go with him. His name is Miao Pu Wuan, his Tian Yu's roommate. They met when they were in high school. The captain ordered Liu Dao to keep an eye on this woman, let her escape. In the age of the apocalypse, hot bunnies like her are rare. Duan Ya believes that the boys' supplies are sufficient for the moment, so there's no danger to them. The little girl thanked her bunny sister for her help, she is awesome to her. Su Chen asked if all the students were now living here. Miao Pu Wuan replied that all the surviving students are taking shelter here, regardless of gender. Since Brother Qian often helps everyone, this place is considered to be their task force's territory. From around the corner, someone added that their task force was strong. Even if they encounter the Hao tribe, they can fight them face to face. Qian Yu's classmate asked Su Chen, interested in joining them? He was insanely happy to see his comrade and thought he was long dead. Qian Yu offered him a drink. He had just returned from an assignment, so he could stay here with him for a couple days. Suddenly, he saw the legendary beauty of their university. The same cold goddess Dawn Ya. The girl thinks it was in the past, it doesn't matter now. Qian Yu asked Xiao Mao, why is this legendary goddess here? And why is she wearing a rabbit costume? The girl was shy and told the guy that she needed to change her clothes. She was too embarrassed to appear in such an outfit in front of the graduates. Su Chen agreed. The guys were furious to see them hugging. Qian Yu suggested that she change her clothes in her room. It's a bit messy, but she can sit down wherever she wants. Su Chen was surprised. After all, this is a luxurious single room. Pu Wuan was jealous, it was all thanks to the bonus points. Qian Yu thought it was strange, the girl didn't bring any bags with her. What would she change into? Su Chen asked the guy, are his missions dangerous? He replied that the two of them seemed to be lucky, looking clean, so the realities of the apocalypse had not really hit them yet. Let Su Chen not leave and join the task force. He'll be able to take care of him, and a great expert like Duan Ya wouldn't even need to go out for food. She could just take care of the injured, but he has one warning. Tell him to stop showing off and making people wear bunny outfits. It's the apocalypse, Su Chen said to Brother Qian not to worry. He will protect her. The guy really hopes so. Does Su Chen remember how he was bullied in high school and didn't dare to fight back? Tian Yu was the one who chased them away. The captain of the guards is not a good guy. The women he shows interest in never have a good ending, especially the beautiful ones like Duan Ya. TSE sneaked up on her unnoticed and told her not to move. The boss sent her to help with the accommodations. Since she is a woman, she shouldn't sleep with these men. Duan Ya thinks there's enough room. She doesn't need her help. The boss asked Jia to come over. The girl turned on her technique and hypnotized her. Using mental power to force control on someone is difficult, but it can be managed for a short time. The girl rushed to open the door for Su Chen to handle. Jia turned out to be quite intelligent. She had a developed pain threshold. She was able to disable the mental power. Du and I was shocked. A girl pierced her palm to use the pain to make herself wake up. Jia said he almost fell for her trick. She's a strange little girl. The guys were already starting to get worried and were knocking on the door. Why is there so much noise during the changeover? Su Chen kicked down the doors in his trademark style. Sister Jia said the guy was looking for death. The girl went to attack, but seeing the guy's true face, she stopped. She remembered what the guy had done at the University of Science and Technology. The one called Su Chen. He is just a devil. Even though Jia has killed many people, her instinct tells her that if she opposes him, she will die. The girl bowed to her new master and asked for punishment. Does the master think she is not sincere enough? Sister Jia decided to completely get rid of her clothes. Maybe this way he would perceive her as his servant. Tian Yu shouted, "Does Su Chen really have such taste?" The girl threw a smoke grenade and tried to escape. Su Chen asked, "Did she really think that she would be able to escape so easily?" Sister Jia begged him to wait a minute. He can't kill her. Does the boy remember the girl he saved? She and her brothers were taken to the arena. Su Chen thanked her for such information and threw her out the window. Miao Pu Wuan believed that the guards took them when they left there. What are they going to do now? If they don't save them, those big rats will chew them to death. Su Chen decided not to waste any time and went to see. Tian Yu told him to try to avoid conflicts. Lao Jiao told the little girl that her two brothers had failed in their task, and this was tantamount to a death sentence. But since she's ready to enter the arena, he might consider giving them a chance. One of the brothers shouted to his little sister to run and not to believe him. Lao Jiao said it was too late. The girl stood up proudly and said she would not leave. He must let them go. Lao Jiao replied that of course, but only if he could survive. A huge rat crept up and bit the little girl's hand. Xiao Mai remembered a funny moment when her brothers brought a lot of mushrooms. She immediately refused, saying that they might be poisonous. The older brother replied that they couldn't let their little sister have anything dangerous, so he decided to try it first. If he didn't die, Xiao Mai would be able to eat them. The guy shouted that he was crazy. The guy immediately started feeling dizzy. He saw a large number of umbrellas in the sky. The mushrooms turned out to be poisonous. But his strong body coped. The brothers had to complete a task and get points for their contribution. They wouldn't have to go hungry anymore. They told the girl to behave and not to run here and there. Let her wait for them to come back and they would eat something delicious. The brother shouted to the girl to run and not to worry about them. She must live for all it's worth. Lao Jiao ordered the boys to shut up and remove the timbers under their feet. Xiao Mai didn't give up and stuck a sharp stick into that huge rat's eye. She managed to get her hand out of its jaws. She's here to save her brothers and she's not going to give up. Lao Jiao laughed. A little kid trying to save his brothers? This is kind of ridiculous. To him, they are trash and unworthy of life. This was the end of them. They just wanted to live. The girl begged for help, for someone to help them. Suddenly, Su Chen appeared and slapped that vile rat. Tian Yu shouted that this guy was too impulsive. With one palm, he massacred a huge rat. Su Chen wondered, is this all that a simple big rat can do? There's no crystal core, so it's not much different from ordinary mutated creatures. Lao Jiao shouted that since the guy was looking for death, he would fulfill his wish. Miao Pu Wuan and Tian Yu released the boys. Xiao Mai asked his brothers if they were all right. The boys thanked their brave little sister. She had handled them. Xiao Mai said that was not true. It wasn't her who saved them, it was Su Chen. The man asked Sister Jia, is this the guy she mentioned in the report? The girl replied that yes, his genes would help overcome the genetic instability that occurred after the doomsday. These rats have gotten even bigger and more aggressive than before. If he dies here, he's no good as a test subject for his research. Su Chen slashed all the rats with his sharp blade in less than a minute. Tian Yu was shocked by what he saw. Was this definitely the Su Chen he knew? The scientist informed everyone that this guy was the perfect material for experiments. Have Lao Jiao and Tian Yu bring him to him dead or alive. Miao Pu Wuan told the girl to leave. If she didn't leave, she wouldn't be able to get out anymore. Duan Ya replied that she won't go anywhere until Su Cheng is released. Thanks to the boss, they were able to survive the doomsday. What will Su Chen choose? Su Chen asked his comrade, "What is going on?" This man's name is Li Hyung. At the beginning of doomsday, he was able to develop a remedy that makes people stronger. That's how he was able to take control of this place. It's a potion that drains their life force in exchange for physical strength. If you take it once, you will become the strongest man alive. Su Chen said that he has a way out. Will he go with him? Chen Yu apologized and said that he had no choice. It was his job. Lao Jiao didn't expect to see such drama between the two brothers. This is getting interesting. It's time. Their boss doesn't like to wait. La Gao moved to attack the guy. However, Chen Yu chose a different path. He kicked that fat creature in the teeth. Baldy asked how dare he disobey the boss? The guy replied that let him go fuck himself. After all, it's just control for the sake of a fucking potion. He has one life, and if it ends now, so be it. No one will dare touch his brother Su Chen. This guy seems to be a real man. He proudly announced that he would fight to the death. A large number of powerful punches landed on Lao Jiao. However, the boss knew that they were capable of treachery, so he gave them a level 1 potion. And he's using a level 2 potion. His fat is his defense. They can't do him any damage. Chen Yu managed to catch his weapons, however, they emitted electricity. Lao Jiao told him to go to hell. Chen Yu realized that there was about to be an electric shock, but the guy was able to turn his weapon against him. Yi Su Chen jumped down and pierced Lao Gao's eyes. Is this really the end for the great Captain Lao Jiao? No one will dare to hurt Comrade Su Chen. A huge amount of current consumed his body in a matter of seconds. Cool sneakers, probably bought them on eBay at a discount. Li Hyung became curious. This kid intrigued him more and more. He spent all his resources and manpower to find a way to turn humans into perfect beings, which would lead to significant breakthroughs in his experiments. The guy has demonstrated his power, and it proves his worth. It gives him the opportunity to join the experiment and become the first perfect human. Su Chen asked, by perfect human, does he mean a rat? Li Hyung replied that he was right. Rat genes are indeed the closest to human genes. Rat genes are needed to create an army of rat men and then conquer the world, in which case the apocalypse would be a veritable paradise for them. Is the guy excited? Su Chen replied that not at all. That sounds really stupid. Is there nothing wrong with his head? Li Hyung thinks the guy doesn't realize how great evolution can be. He can easily show him. Jia shot poison from her weapon into Lao Gao's body. His body immediately began to mutate. The guys didn't understand what was happening. This guy is a sumo wrestler. The fat makes him resistant to punches, combined with the level 3 medicine he had just been injected with, increasing his strength and healing his body. Su Chen is no match for him. The wily Li Hyung asked, does he now see the greatness of evolution? Su Chen replied that there was no greatness here. He's just turning people into monsters. The man ordered his death. Had them extract his genes from the corpse. The monster gathered all its power, and it was as if it had become a large lump of energy. And I was worried and yelled to my boyfriend to be careful. Do these scientists really think that putting a couple batteries in a gun will kill someone? Su Chen took out a battery and put it in the monster's mouth. Doesn't that remind you of something? It's like another Hollywood blockbuster. Li Hyung was shocked. The guy was using exploding batteries to do damage, but as he had said before, a level 3 drug had a strong healing ability. In the face of the power of evolution, Su Chen is completely powerless. The guy, however, doesn't care at all about what this moron says. He sealed it into the ground and started throwing a few punches with great speed. Guy realizes that in their day only a few people know about superpowers, so he'd better not show others how he uses his. A sandstorm of dust rose up and blocked everyone's view. This guy kept on healing. Li Hyung's research is really some special. However, there is more than just supplies in Su Chen's vault. He also prepared many secret weapons. The guys were standing there with their mouths open, not realizing what the fuss had just been about. A pile of cement and steel? Is the fat man buried under the rubble? Li Hyung was furious when he saw it with his own eyes. But he didn't care who he was or where this pile of junk came from. How dare the guy provoke him like this? He will make sure that Su Chen will die without a burial place. Let them look around, they are all definitely corpses. The smirk on his face clearly says that this scientist doesn't know who he's messing with yet. It's a perfect arrangement for him, since he's not going to let any of them go either. The guys were surrounded by people who once went to the lab. They had all mutated into rat humans. Su Chen's target is Li Hyung. If they don't deal with him, this will never end. Let the guys destroy them all. Du and Ya remembered what the guy said earlier. If she lost her value, then he would have no right to stay by his side. Leaving, Su Chen told her that if she couldn't handle it, then have her call out loudly to him. Du and Ya decided to take the role of the ringleader. Let them listen carefully, she's gonna check these guys out. There's quite a few of them. The girl has never controlled so many at once, but she has to do it. Let the others focus on the kill and act coherently. The aide informed Li Hyung that Su Chen destroyed the guards in the building and broke into Ms. Yoon's room. The man was surprised. How dare he break into this place? Let them introduce the doomsday gene immediately. The assistant said that gene fusion is still unstable, it's too risky. Li Hyung told him to do it simply as they say. He'll deal with Su Chen personally. It's time to show who's boss. Su Chen was surprised to see Yoon. After meeting her at the bar, he didn't expect to see her here. He decided to waste no time and save the girl first. The girl recognized him and whispered that she was very hungry. Li Hyun rushed towards them and launched ice blocks at the guy. But Su Chen was able to deflect them. The scientist told me to get my filthy hands off her. She belongs to him. Su Chen asked, did he really think he was buying goods? In the apocalypse, ordinary people will be mere ants. Someone like him, with the power of evolution, will inevitably rule the world. To be his woman would be an honor for her. Su Chen realized that this Li Hyun was really crazy, just like the rumors said. Yoon hugged the guy tightly and asked him not to leave. She was really scared. Su Chen replied that he wouldn't leave. Li Hyung shouted that she was his girlfriend and rushed into the fight. The guy said he was too loud and stopped him with one left like kicking a ball. This is a turn of events no one expected. Hey, come on, is this a blockbuster? Yoon said that Su Chen shouldn't have abandoned her last time, now he owes her. Li Hyun couldn't believe his eyes, how dare she? In that case, they would go to hell together. Now he would show him the power of a god. Su Chen replied that he would gladly appreciate his skills. He left the girl to rest and offered to eat a candy bar. Mutating Li Hyun shouted, how dare the guy distract himself at such a moment? He had doomed himself to death. With just one punch, Su Chen had sent him to the dust. He thought it was very strange. Yoon asked, are the people downstairs his friends? The guy replied, that's right. The girl broke the window and said she wouldn't eat his food for nothing. She would take care of the people downstairs. Li Hyung isn't easy to kill, so be careful. Holy shit, is it because of a candy bar? She took a little bad fall, now her butt hurts. Du and I asked the guy if she was seeing things. He said it looked like a woman, just a giant woman. Tianyu shouted for her not to go over his head. Stepping on one of the rats, Yoon didn't realize what it was, but looking a little closer, the girl noticed that they were rats and lots of them. They are nasty rats. Yoon is very afraid of them. The guys didn't know what to do, because the girl might step on them, so it looked like she had lost her mind. Su Chen knew that Yoon had such powerful abilities. A multitude of rats took over his body. He realized it was Li Hyung. He really wasn't that easy to kill. Li Hyung now possessed a virtually immortal body. The guys on the street didn't understand what was going on. Why did the rats suddenly stop? All the rats looked up sharply. The silhouette of a monster appeared on the roof. The boys assumed the monster was a rat king. All the rats kneeled down to worship their king. Giant Beauty Union asked the vile rat, where is Su Chen? Li Hyung replied that he was no longer there. But how dare she speak to him like that? Or is she asking to be killed? The rats suddenly went berserk and started attacking her from all sides. The boys fought as hard as they could. Is this really it for them? There's too many of them, they won't be able to hold back the onslaught. Li Hyung has already tasted victory. With this rat army, he is invincible. Suddenly, a voice came from his skeleton. It was Su Chen, and he apologized. Finding the crystal took a long time. Li Hyun couldn't understand what was going on. After all, the guy should have been completely absorbed by him. The army of rats stopped, they didn't understand how this was even possible. Now he has the Rat King's crystal core. The rats got even angrier and started getting into every crevice. Tianyu shouted to Big Brother to be more attentive. The rats are raising the underground drainage. They grabbed his leg and dragged him into the ground. He could no longer survive. The last thing the guy had time to say it was that they might forget about him. Let little brother take care of Xiao Mai. There are too many of these rats. Their strength is stretched to the limit. They need help. Tianyu said that was it. He couldn't wave his arms anymore. Yun Yun yells, her stomach rumbles again. She needs something to eat to build up her strength. They can't be held back. Only God can help them. Tianyu noticed some kind of shadow moving right towards them. Could it really be the Rat King? A huge monster resembling a large rat jumped right next to Du and Ya. It's the Rat King. Has Suchen been defeated? The monster walked up to her and told her not to be afraid. It was him. The girl burst into tears. She heard the voice of her beloved Su Cheng. The consciousness inside the crystal core is still trying to absorb it. But unfortunately, when it comes to fortitude, he can't lose to this monster. Tianyu couldn't believe his eyes. This was really his brother Su Chen. The guy said that brother Tianyu did a good job while he was away. Suddenly, a huge number of rats surrounded him. Tianyu shouted that he was in danger, but one look and one word, "Get lost," made the rats panic and run as fast as they could from there. Miao Pu Wuan didn't understand what was going on, why the rat swarm had all fled. Su Chen just uttered the word "get lost" and that's it. They all ran away. Did they really pull it off? Is this a victory or a dream? Even if he wasn't a Rat King, the remaining power of the crystal core was enough to intimidate these rat men and make them retreat. Suddenly, brother Tianyu started coughing violently. Su Chen asked if he was all right. Yun Yun said what Tianyu injected was actually poison. It gave tremendous strength, but the more strength one used, the deeper the poisoning. Su Chen asked, in that case, what could he do to save him? There's a dead body in Li Hyung's lab. We need to use his blood to make a serum. It should neutralize the poison. Su Chen reached the lab that Yun Yun was talking about. He realized that the pressure here is intense and it's like a black hole. Su Chen entered some kind of field. He didn't understand what this strange feeling was. It was as if he had passed through a wall of mental power. Something incredible? The guy said there was a dead body in the lab, but what's this girl doing here? The professor greeted her classmate Li. Su Chen said that she must have made a mistake. He looked through the glass and saw himself in Li Hyung's body. Could it be an illusion? Whatever it is, he needs to wake up now. She told the guy to go ahead and sit down. Why is standing there silent? Su Chen must have entered Li Hyung's memories. The guy anxiously asked what she was doing. The girl replied that it was too stuffy in the lab, so she decided to take off her coat. She asked what kind of crab is that? Li Hyung replied that it was Sacculinus, a common parasitic organism found in crabs. It is a creature that coexists with its master in defense of itself. The girl thought it was very interesting. She didn't expect that classmate Li would not only excel in his studies, but also be in such good shape. Li Hyun realized that she was no longer going to do the experiments. The girl prefers more practice than theory. Then should he study harder? The moon outside looks very strange. Let him quickly close the curtains. From that moment on, they no longer lived the way they used to, nor did they enjoy every day. Their food supplies were slowly running out, but they kept hoping this heat wave would end. Suddenly, Li Hyung charged. How dare she steal his food? Does she know that these supplies are more valuable than her life? The girl apologized. She was just so hungry she couldn't resist. Li Hyung decided that if he hurried, he would make it in time. She might not have digested everything yet. It's still in her stomach. Now they have food again. Hooray, hooray, hooray. He saw that the rat had evolved after eating its flesh, though this violent and aggressive evolution was far from perfect. Li Hyung created a serum from her blood. It can neutralize the poison. But that's not what surprises him the most. She's still alive and her body is constantly mutating. The girl is the perfect research subject. Li Hyun couldn't believe his eyes. The data even suggested that it could even be called a doomsday gene. He wondered what surprises her brain held. After all, she wasn't going to die anyway. Here he remembered that he had used a chainsaw many times in the past at the cottage. Maybe he needed to become a better woodsman? The girl said to eat it. It was the crystal core he had been looking for so long. After all, why hesitate? Just let him eat it. And he'll get what he wanted so badly. He doesn't eat it because it's just a piece of rotten meat. The girl asked, how on earth did he figure it out? Let him reveal his secret. If there was a real crystal core in his hands, she would be dead by now. Was the guy really able to shatter her illusion? She had finally found the right person, and was so close. Now Su Chen will have to dissect her brain himself. There are no other options. She's just a poor woman who's been wronged by others. Isn't it her power he wants? She can give it, just let it be spared. When a Sakulina penetrates its host, it takes over its consciousness so it can say goodbye. Does she think he'll give her a chance? Without the crystal core, the body begins to disintegrate. Looks like it's okay this time. He thought it was strange. She turned to ash. What about the antidote he's looking for? The antidote should be in one of those vials in the lab. Once it is parasitized, it forms root-like branches within the host, connecting to various parts of the host's body and controlling its behavior. This parasitic relationship eventually turns the host into a Sakulina slave.